Blessings and welcome to the Law of One study channel. I am Robert, your humble narrator, and it is my pleasure to speak with you. Now let us speak of third density, the density of choice. To reel our minds back from the great spread of densities of experience, we can concentrate on this present third density experience, the one we are working on right now. Those of QO say, "How we admire you. We remember third density. It is the shortest of the densities, the density of choice. You are here to choose to serve the Creator by serving others or by serving the self and manipulating others. As you serve others, you may be asked to do outrageous things, to go beyond your limitations, to do what cannot be done, yet which shall be done because it must. And in those situations, we strongly advise that you release your personal personality and move to an impersonal portion of your deep self. That God self of unmitigated and straightforward compassion. To determine what is pleasing as opposed to what is serving another entity is sometimes difficult, especially on the spur of the moment. Therefore, we ask you to steep yourselves as you would immolate a tea bag in the teacup, in the love and in the light of the Infinite One. That what needs to be done for you to polarize, for you to choose, may be done with what this instrument would call gladness and singleness of heart. Those of QO share more about service to self versus service to others, the great choice of paths we face in third density. The nature of third density is primarily dictated by the lessons which have been prepared for each seeker to walk with, and for the goal towards which these lessons point. That basic nature of your illusion is division into opposites. For yours is the density of choice. Yours is an illusion, rich in either or. The raw material which you bring to this lesson is itself duple. On the other hand, you bring to these lessons a physical, mental, emotional complex of great instinctual beauty, symmetry, and harmony. The physical vehicle of third density is unimaginably rich in sense perceptions. At all times, the inner eye is filled with an enormous variety of sense perceptions. These are instinctively proprietized and held in an instinctual state of balance. This is that second density creature which has accepted the role of carrying your consciousness about for this incarnative experience. And my friend Joseph adds, the negatives are going to be trying to pull you one way, the positives the other. You have an angel on your left shoulder and an angel on your right. Guess which one is a Hell's Angel? I have the same problem. I understand. Good luck. I am far from saint material, I assure you. I use my 49% quite enthusiastically on numerous occasions and sometimes love every minute of it. I like living close to the edge of the precipice, I guess. Anyways, now for the inspiring news. When you get these negative feelings, you need to realize this is not a game. It is the real thing. I love Joseph's insolence. Of course, in a way, it is a game. A most divine game, and one which we do not need to take seriously, wanderers or not. The Oxal group says this: in addition to those lessons which are learned in a manner native to those who work through the third density for the first time, those who are what you call wanderers bring a certain task and a certain responsibility, which may be viewed as operating so as to put into a unique light a particular slant or bias, those precise lessons which, within third density, all must learn. And so, in a sense, the task is compounded, proportionate to the unique gifts which have been brought from other densities, so that they may be laid down in service to the souls which seek so hungrily to reach beyond the limits which are those of third density, a density of choice. It is an old idea and ideal that to those to whom much has been given, much may be expected. Identify our unique gifts, then, and look for ways to share them. Sometimes it may seem that there is no place that will appreciate our gifts, that this world is very negative. Don thought so. Questioner: can you tell me why you say that the Earth will be fourth density positive instead of fourth density negative, since there seems to be much negativity here now? I am Ra. The Earth seems to be negative. That is due to the quiet, shall we say, honor, which is the common distortion which those good or positively oriented entities have towards the occurrences which are of your time-space present. However, those oriented and harvestable in the ways of service to others greatly outnumber those whose orientation towards service to self has become that of harvestable quality. As odd as this may seem, in some instances, a wanderer may even fail to recognize service to self or negative orientation. Questioner: are the many wanderers who have and are coming to our planet subject to the Orion thoughts? I am Ra. As we have said before, wanderers become completely the creature of third density in mind-body complex. There is just as much chance of such influence to a wanderer entity as to a mind-body spirit complex of this planetary sphere. The only difference occurs in the spirit complex which, if it wishes, has an armor of light, if you will, which enables it to recognize more clearly that which is not as it would appropriately be desired by the mind-body-spirit complex. This is not more than bias and cannot be called an understanding. Furthermore, the wanderer is, in its own mind, body, spirit, less distorted towards the, shall we say, deviousness of the third density positive-negative confusions. Thus, it often does not recognize as easily as a more negative individual the negative nature of thoughts or beings. Questioner: then would the wanderers, as they incarnate here, be high priority targets of the Orion group? I am Ra. This is correct. Questioner: if a wanderer should be successfully infringed upon, shall I say, by the Orion group, what would happen to this wanderer when harvest came? I am Ra. If the wanderer entity demonstrated through action a negative orientation towards other selves, it would be, as we have said before, caught into the planetary vibration, and when harvested, possibly repeat again the master cycle of third density as a planetary entity. Wanting to avoid that repetition of third density, we would like to be sincerely wise and calm. But we are, for the most part, not. We are confused. However, this is perfectly okay. We would commend to your attention the virtue of confusion, the virtue of helpfulness, of being caught, of being puzzled, of being taken out of oneself, so that self is revealing self to self in a spontaneous manner. These characteristics of self provide the structure for learning within third density. They present to the seeker carefully orchestrated choices that are subjectively oriented to offer the best opportunity for polarization of consciousness. Without personality, but simply with self-awareness and the choice before one, the seeker will move without error into full awareness. Yet this awareness teaches nothing. It does not connect with that biological entity in a way which furthers spiritual evolution. It is the foolish personality, the ego, the self that thinks a million thoughts and does a million deeds in its heart, and that foolish entity alone that interacts with free will and finds ever deeper and truer choices that create and recreate the self ever anew. As we go, we do need to face our utter free will and responsibility to make this choice. I love the thought of the Creator having created us, capable of learning how to consciously lead the dance, so the Creator can lose itself in our swirling arms and through our conscious observer awareness to experience what it has created, without being constantly reminded of having created it all. Almost like giving the Creator a day off. Just even once in our lives, surrendering gladly our illusion of being the victim and simply enjoying the responsibility for what we have chosen. There is a point to this exercise, even beyond our own spiritual evolution. There are extravagant opportunities for service in this density of the dim and shadowy way. There is nothing to fear. You are free, and in the third density illusion, you can be of the greatest assistance to each other that you shall ever be to anyone. We cannot possibly emphasize enough the height, the breadth, and the depth of the possibilities for service in your earthen vessel overbody. For yours is the density of choice. You shall choose your priority or have already chosen, and as you serve, you are aiding the one whom you serve to choose his or her polarity, or to increase it. We are likely to remain confused. How to clarify matters? How shall we go about seeking this choice? How can we recognize it? We need to listen to our heart's desires. The object of third density is, we feel, the making of a certain choice, a choice of paths. This choice is not simply a verbal one or a mental one. In order for this choice to be made so that the entity within has truly chosen, choices are made within the fire of unknowing, within that chasm where there is no footing but only air. The process that seekers go through in order to attain a firmly made choice is not an intellectual process, nor even an intellectual emotional process, but rather it is, as this instrument would say, a journey from head to heart, so that it matters not so much whether one sees clearly, as it matters more that one may desire more clearly. To hone the edge of the thirst for truth is to improve that search in its efficiency. Again, it is not what the seeker knows, but what the seeker desires that creates the character of the distortions that the seeker is likely to settle upon as that which is the least distorted version of truth. Once it has been accepted that all truths are to some extent distortions of a truth that is inevitable and unknowable, then there is perhaps an easier and more relaxed attitude towards this process of knowing the truth. If all things are shadows, if all things are to some extent not what they seem, then the heart is free to open in pure desire to whatever truth it may pick up with its various antennae, which it does not know it has, but which the being which lies within knows well how to use. Lynn suggests that deciding the way we want to be helps in pinning this all-important choice down. I think most of us are pretty sure which polarity we want to be, rather than know for sure which polarity we have been up until this point. All until the moment of decision, we are one of those wandering around in confusion and ignorance. We are neither here nor there. When we make the choice, this is what I want to be, then I believe strongly that is what we will be. The choice is what we determine all our future actions, since we have started firmly, sincerely, and categorically that is what we desire. The universe will aid and assist us to achieve this goal if we are sincere and make this known to ourselves and our higher self. We can't do it ourselves. We have our egos to battle, and our egos are very clever. The ego tells us we are separate from all in order to preserve itself. The only thing we need to do is to make the choice, and then to ask for help, keeping in mind that what you are manifesting unpleasantly in others is only ego and not the truth. When you are judging yourself as being unworthy, then you are playing to the ego. The ego needs these doubts and fears to exist. The ego is not who you are, and it is not who others are. See it for the illusion it is, and see what is under the illusion. Then don't worry. Unconditional love is not developed overnight. Treat others as if they were worthy of your love, even if you can't give it. One day you will be able to. Another way to look at making of ethical choices is to invoke the fool's choice of blind faith. In the portion of the spirit's journey through the present octave, that is third density, the crux or focus of the learning that is offered in third density is the choice. This archetypical image is of a young man stepping off into thin air. No suggestion of a bridge, no suggestion of another shore, but simply the walking off of a cliff in perfect faith. As each entity awakens to her or his spiritual identity, that which has awakened is in part that fool. And that which lies before the entity is a step into midair. And once that step has been made and the air has seemed to solidify about the new vantage point, a cliff will appear once more, and the fool must needs step over that one as well, and the next, and the next. And each time that this occurs, that seeker, that fool, has reprised the choice. One last suggestion. Look for the love. Act as its hand, voice, and ambassador. The decision that you may make, which will profoundly affect the many choices that you make, is the decision to seek love. Not any kind of love, not any description of love. To seek love. To seek love is to seek one of the primal distortions from the infinite creator. To seek love is to seek the great intelligence that fills the energetic consciousness of the universe with purpose. We may also seek this great intelligence in others. All we meet are mirrors that reflect the love and light of the infinite creator. All are our angels, unawares. Sometimes we are bemused and blinded by our own reflections, but occasionally we meet someone who is transparent to the Creator for us, and there love's face shines in human form. It happens often to me. I am so grateful to and sensitive to the beauty in so many people I meet and talk with. I am more fortunate than most, for much of my outer service is talking to, encouraging, and supporting outsiders and wanderers. And so I meet a very special and sweet tribe of beings. It has been my pleasure speaking with you, my fellow wanderer and seeker of truth. I am Robert. It's been my honor and duty sharing this with you. In the love and the light, be in peace, my sisters and brothers. I'll talk to you again real soon. I love you.